Good morning. It is 6 o'clock here on your Wednesday. We're glad you're with us. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. We do want to get straight to our weather with meteorologist Thomas Patrick because everything's happening is what I've decided.
Oh my
so
goodness.
Go for it.
Yes, it is going to be a very busy and a very complicated forecast because before we get into some bitterly cold temperatures that will include sub-zero this weekend, we still have more snow between now and then, some still falling as of this morning. So jumping right into Doppler radar, areas near both Sandpoint, now northern Spokane County, as well as the Palouse are seeing snowfall. And I want to zoom in over the Palouse because it's a little bit more organized in this region. Last little bit of snowfall kind of hugging the foothills of the Blue Mountains from Dayton to Pomeroy and then up towards Pullman and Moscow, still getting some light snow at the moment, but we could be interested in a few snow flurries around Spokane County. It does appear that the Elk area as well as Mount Spokane are seeing some snowfall early on. But tomorrow we'll get even more, and now there's another winter storm watch issued for southeastern Washington and most of North Idaho, including Coeur d'Alene, but not including Spokane. And we'll cover that in excruciating detail in just a few moments.
This is a live look now at Snoqualmie Pass. Still pretty dark this morning, but the mountain passes got hit pretty hard by this storm system. Some directions and areas have closed off and on over the past few days. We know, of course, Gonzaga students head back to school in 1 week, and many of them travel over to the Seattle area and will have to cross over the pass.
Here's some video now of crews clearing snow from Stevens Pass. The National Weather Service has a blizzard warning for all the mountain passes until 10 o'clock this morning. WashDOT says if you can avoid going over the passes right now, you should.
New pictures from WashDOT show the impact of the snow on US 97 Blewett Pass heading towards Leavenworth. The road had to be closed because of fallen trees, poor visibility, high winds, and heavy snow. WashDOT says they will evaluate the conditions this morning to see if the road is ready to be reopened.
And if you do have to get out and drive in this winter weather, you should at least have an emergency kit just in case. So here's some of the things you should be putting in that. 1, a car cell phone charger, water and snacks, a flashlight with extra batteries, and always something to help with traction in case you get stuck. Also, before you leave, always check conditions on WashDOT's website.
On Up with KREM, we alert you before severe weather happens. As Thomas has been saying, we are just days away from sub-zero temperatures here in the inland Northwest. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is live in Spokane right now. So Brandon, what are homeless shelters seeing so far and how are they preparing for these temperatures? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Tim. Well, I want you to go ahead and take a look at this right now because I've got the Shelter Me Spokane website pulled up, and what this is a list of all the shelters here in the area with their beds available right here. So we see at the top, Hope House Women's Shelter, that's one available. There's 11 shelters on here that list their beds. You can see Crosswalk Youth Shelter completely full, House of Charity Shelter completely full, and then others have less than 25% of their beds available. And if you go ahead and take a look behind me right here, that's the Crosswalk program of Volunteers of America. We actually got a chance to speak with them yesterday. KREM 2 crews spent the day at some of these shelters to talk about what it is currently like as those temperatures begin to roll in, and beds are going to quickly fill up because of that cold weather. In fact, we did have those KREM 2 crews speak with some of the shelters in town yesterday, and we were told by the Volunteers of America that doors are open, but beds are usually full. That means by the time the evening rolls around, people have to get redirected to other places or simply find another place to spend the night.
Hope House Shelter especially has been at capacity because of rent. We're seeing the need increase with people not being able to afford their rent. They're on fixed income, their rent increases, and they don't have a safety net.
And if we go ahead and take a look at the largest shelter in Spokane, as of this morning, we just refreshed not too long ago, the Trent Resource and Assistance Center has 39 beds available out of their 400 in total. So again, with these extreme temperatures on the way, all of those beds have a high chance of being completely filled up by this Friday. Again, we just want to mention again that the Volunteers of America, that building right there behind us, they help redirect and get people into those beds so they don't have to spend their night out here on these cold streets. But for now, reporting live in downtown Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
In his last State of the State address, Governor Jay Inslee says Washington is stronger than ever as he enters his final year in office.
Drew Mickelson from our Seattle station looks at the governor's top priorities for this upcoming session.
Governor Jay Inslee wants to increase pay for paraprofessionals in school and get more money from the state to clear encampments and fight fentanyl addiction. He also said he will spend his last year in office defending the state's climate law. The governor says the state is a leader when it comes to the economy, protecting civil rights and the environment. The Climate Commitment Act charges polluters in the state in an attempt to reduce carbon emissions. Critics have blamed the law for increasing the price of gas, and voters may have a chance to throw out the law come November. Governor Inslee says while he's leaving office, he is not just going to ride off into the sunset, and he won't allow the state to go backwards on climate policy.
This legislature put us on a clear and necessary path to slash greenhouse gases by 95% by 2050. Any delay would be a betrayal of our children's future. We are now on the razor's edge between promise and peril.
It's very frustrating to the average Washingtonian. I understand that we're working on climate change and we want to address carbon issues, but I don't think here in the great state of Washington that we need to do it on the backs of working Washingtonians. Towards
the end of his State of the State address, the governor said he would like lawmakers to pass a constitutional amendment to guarantee abortion rights in the state of Washington, but that would require a 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate, which means it would require bipartisan support, and it does not appear those votes are there from the Republicans. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson, KREM 2 News.
So the federal government is giving us here in the Northwest money to help fight fires. Wildland Firefighting is getting $138 million. It's part of President Biden's Investing in America plan. The money will be for training, reducing extreme wildfire risk, and fire science research.
So there is a specific allocation for wildland firefighting and sort of a broad allocation across all of the areas that we look at, and that goes to fuels treatment, to actual, fighting on the ground itself, to rehabilitation of burned areas that need that help. All of that's covered by the bipartisan infrastructure law, the President's Investing in America agenda, and we feel that working together with communities and our partners, including tribes, to pull all of that together, it's going to make a big difference out on the landscape.
One of the spots getting help right now is an elk and deer habitat out in Idaho. Back in September of 2022, a lightning storm started a few wildfires that burned some of that habitat. So now, funding like this is helping crews reseed native plants and get rid of invasive species in the area.
All right, the time now is just about 6:09. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. This morning, the ballots for Washington state's primary elections are finalized. Yesterday was the deadline for each political party in Washington to submit a list of candidates for the state primary. Voters' pamphlets will be mailed out starting February 14th, and you should have your ballot by February 23rd, which is also the start of the 18-day voting period. March 4th is the deadline to update your voter registration, and your ballot must be submitted by March 12th at 8 p.m. Well, check this out. A semi-truck crashed west of Ritzville, spilling thousands of frozen pizzas on the ground. Oh no, the driver wasn't seriously hurt. And the pizzas, well, yeah, they stayed frozen because it was cold enough, of course. Crews worked yesterday to clean up all of those zaws. The Idaho Sled Dog Challenge, held at the end of January, is still a go. This is video from last year's race. Event organizers say conditions are good enough to run the race, and thanks to this storm system, they will likely be getting even better over the coming days. And that is a look at your morning rush.
It's 6:10. We're going to focus in on temperatures because obviously it is going to be extremely cold for this weekend. This morning doesn't look too bad out there, right at 30 degrees in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene and 28 in a light snow in Pullman at the moment. These are temperatures that we can handle. And today we are going to get a few more light snow showers during the late morning or midday hours. A pretty normal looking January forecast. It's what happens on Friday. After this Arctic cold front passes through, then our temperatures free fall. We're looking at below zero low temperatures heading into into this weekend. And coming up, I'll show you exactly how cold it's going to be all across the inland Northwest and what could be some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in years.